Just a reminder, the quality of this video is not determined by your inability to accept another person's opinion. Before I get started today, I'd like to personally thank iMovie and YouTube's compatibility or lack thereof. Thank you for wasting months of my hard work and only uploading my videos in standard definition. But I'm not bitter.
Fuck you!
That being said, for my next video, I'm going to defend the shit out of Robocop 2. Let's do it. It should be noted that 2020 marks the 30-year anniversary of Robocop 2. Growing up, Robocop 2 was the only Robocop movie I personally owned on VHS. And that means two things. One, I saw this one before the original and more frequently. And two, clearly my parents didn't give a fuck what I watched. What can I say? They brought me up right. And there'll be more evidence of that as this channel progresses.
Nice fucking model!
So a lot of people complain about Robocop 2 basically saying that Robocop's story was finished at the conclusion of the original. Going as far to say that Robocop 2 actually undoes a lot of the things that were established in the original. The main one being that they reverted Murphy back to his more machine-like personality, and that he lost some of the humanity that he gained at the end of the first one. In some aspects, I can understand that. But overall, I wholeheartedly disagree with that notion. At the start of this movie, clearly OCP is still manipulating him.
What can you offer her? Companionship? Love?
And I think the story of him gaining his humanity is continued pretty nicely here in the sequel. In fact, I feel like it's a natural progression to show him still struggling with the notion of who he is. He's still a man trapped in a machine's body. I like how his flashbacks are triggered by the foul-mouthed little bastard that he meets in this movie.
Can't shoot a kid, can you, fucker?
Robocop shows his humanity even further by the end of the film as he consoles the boy as he dies, again showing growth. Murphy clearly still feels a connection to his wife through his flashbacks, but you get the feeling that he's not quite sure how to deal with that or what to do with those emotions. I guess the only logical thing for him to do was to stalk her. He shows more emotion when he clearly has a personal interest in taking down Kane.
What's bugging you, Murph? Kane. Kane's bugging me.
Based on all this, I'd say the idea of him losing his humanity in this movie is completely ridiculous. To me, he's more human than ever and continuing to progress.
I'm having trouble.
Usually what a good sequel does is it takes the original and attempts to build on it, and I think Robocop 2 does just that. I would say Robocop 2 emits a theme of escalation, much like The Dark Knight did. Before you go crazy in the comments, I'm not comparing Robocop 2 to The Dark Knight necessarily.
I'm sorry! For everything!
Robocop 2 might not be as intricate, but I do feel like the stories take a similar trajectory. Think about it, in the first movie, the very existence of Robocop was supposed to diminish crime. Instead, at the beginning of this movie, we find a city that's bankrupt, the evil corporation that is OCP is attempting to take over, the cops are on strike, and crime has gotten worse than ever. All of that is kind of triggered by the existence of Robocop. There's a great sequence near the opening of the movie where you see a series of people robbing each other one after the other, all the way to the gun shop being robbed, which is ultimately the introduction of Robocop. That's escalation. That's setting the stage. That's showing that old Detroit has gotten worse before it gets better.
But you spat in the faces of Gotham's criminals. Didn't you think there might be some casualties? Things were always going to get worse before they got better.
The old man, aka the OCP president, turned slightly evil in this movie, for no apparent reason. But is this really the first time we've seen an old rich white guy let the power go to his head? Honestly, I'd be more surprised if he wasn't a dick. Furthering my claims of escalation is the villain of Kane, a cult-like leader who is pushing a very dangerous drug known as Nuke, that is systematically ripping the city apart. Kane is made even more dangerous when he gets a super upgrade at the end of the movie. His brain is put into a robot and basically creates this drug-fueled killing machine. Definitely wasn't the smartest idea to use a psychopath's brain if you're trying to make a cop, but Robocop's got to meet his match somehow, so there it is. I should also point out that Paul Verhoeven's direction is always going to be missed. I mean, the guy is a legend, but Irvin Kershner, the guy who brought us The Empire Strikes Back, mind you, does a solid job of keeping the tone of the original. Even the media and consumer commentary is still there, with awesome cutaways to these news reports and really twisted commercials.
And it won't even run down your battery.
Magnavolt. Lethal response.
I mean, it still feels like Robocop. And I think it helps them continue to do a bit of world building, which is always a good thing. And yes, the violence returns as it should, and it's no more offensive than it was in the first movie, which in my opinion was not at all, because it was fucking awesome. It just really hammers home the brutality of this world and why we need someone like Robocop. To be clear, I'm not saying Robocop 2 is better than Robocop 1. I'm simply saying that Robocop 2 is more comparable to Robocop 1 than people give it credit for. I highly recommend you giving Robocop 2 a chance if you haven't seen it in a while. It's definitely worth the effort. So what do you think of Robocop 2? Do you love it like me? Or is the first one the only one you choose to acknowledge? At least we can all agree that Robocop 3 does in fact suck balls, right? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, and share. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.